Hey guys, and a very warm welcome to Friday Fretworks. This week I wanted to take a chance to talk you through the ever expanding and decreasing behemoth that has become my pedalboard over the past year. The reason I wanted to do it now is I'm currently in the process of designing a new pedalboard with Chris at Custom Pedalboards in North Wales, up in Colwyn Bay. So this current pedalboard is soon to be an X-pedalboard, and I just thought I'd take the chance now while it's still in its kind of current guise to talk you through some of the sounds I get from it, why I put things where I did, how it works, what's used for what, etc, just to give you a little bit of a rundown on what I do with it. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Here we go. So here we have it, the current guise of what is soon to be an X pedalboard, courtesy of Mr. Chris Ryan at Custom Pedalboards in North Wales. As I said, I think he's kind of building it as we speak, and the plan is that it's going to be a little bit more compact. It's going to be 2 tiers, so we can hide away some of the stuff that doesn't actually get touched within the course of a set. Hopefully it's going to be infinitely more durable, rugged and reliable is the kind of main aim, to be honest. There's been a couple of little things with this board recently which have kind of alluded to it being on its last legs in a couple of respects. So rather than taking it apart from scratch and kind of finding those things, it's probably the hint to kind of move on to something bigger and better, or smaller and better in this case. So before it gets taken apart, I thought I would take you through some of the sounds that I get out of it and how I use it and why I use certain pedals. So here we go. The clean tone without any pedals on, apart from the Seriatone Centura. No guesses as to what that is kind of meant to be. And the EP booster sounds as such. This evening we are using my main Strat, as you will have seen in last week's video, and running straight into guitar rig, unfortunately just for the sake of the neighbour's sanity, at 20 past 10 on a Wednesday evening. So without any further delays, we shall go on into what is currently in the Gig Rig Quartermaster. First pedal worth mentioning is the Origin Effects Cali 76 compressor, which has become more of a kind of always-on thing in recent months, to be honest. Kind of feel a little bit lazy about doing that, but it's a gorgeous sounding compressor, very musical, very dynamic, and very touch kind of responsive as well, which is cool. It's not that kind of almost blanket compression that you get from cheaper pedals. So. Really nice sounding compression pedal that just kind of makes everything after it and before it bizarrely sound better. So moving on to the first Overdrive pedal, which is the Analog Man Mike Piera King of Tone. So much stuff kind of spoken about these pedals online, whether it's Facebook, whether it's the gear page, wherever, Instagram. My assessment of the whole kind of situation would be, if you want one, do the right thing, get on the waiting list, as I did. I think at this kind of moment in time, it's just over a year, which is pretty much what I had to wait. And suffice to say that my assessment of it would be that I never thought any pedal would kick my tube screamer off a pedalboard. Been incredibly reliant on tube screamers for years, and yet here we are with a distinct lack of green pedals. It's not that's not to say it's particularly tube screamery voiced. I think there is a kind of mid-hump with it, especially with both sides on, as I currently use it. But it just does very nice things with the Strat especially, so it sounds a little bit like this. Really nice, thick kind of singing overdrive, which works very nicely for the kind of sound that I'm going for. Next overdrive in the chain is actually the Paul Cochran Tim. A little bit less gainy, more transparent, I would say, and again, very dynamic. Sounds like this. Moving on, we have what is probably the cheapest pedal on the pedalboard, the Moa Trelicopter. Very kind of basic but very cool tremolo pedal, set up for a specific Buck & Evans track at the moment, which sounds a little bit like this. Gets a lot of use actually stacked with the Echo Rec as such. Really cool kind of ambient, sort of swirling, big, reverberant sound, you know. Moving on to the Echo Rec in isolation, actually. Again, kind of tends to get used for very specific moments, one of which being a track called Slow Train, which Plug will be on the new Buck & Evans album coming out next year, so sounds a little bit like this. Incidentally, that's what it sounds like when a string slides off the edge of the fretboard. You get that lovely... It's late, I'm to be forgiven. Last in the Quartermaster, we have the Empress Tape Delay, which is currently set up with 3 delay presets that sound a little bit like this. Good kind of multi-purpose delay sounds that tend to get a lot of use with solo. So if we say we stick an overdrive pedal on, really cool. It's a great delay pedal. What more is there to say about that, really? Moving back towards the start of the Quartermaster, we have the rather confusingly labelled Dover, which, for those of you who've seen any rug down type stuff I've done on Facebook in the past, you will have noticed that in place of the Overdrive, we currently have the rotary Reverb made by Hamida Audio. There's a full demo of that on my Facebook page, but that's currently sharing a loop with the Zen Drive. So the Zen Drive sounds a little bit like this, although it tends to be used with humbuckers and P90s, so Strat's probably not the best guitar, at least the way I've currently had it set up to show you, but here we go. And if we turn the Zen Drive off and turn the rotary reverb on, we get something like this. Really cool kind of Leslie Sim with the gorgeous chorus sound in it and vibrato as well. Like I said, there's a full demo of that on my YouTube channel should you want to take a look. And lastly, firstly, bizarrely, we have the Marshall Bluesbreaker, which was actually the reason I got the Quartermaster looper in the first place, to be honest. It's a little bit temperamental. It's probably pushing the best part of I don't know, 25 years old maybe, and was starting to show the kind of signs of crapping out on me. So having that out of harm's way is a nice little added advantage. Tends to be stacked with either the Tim or the King of Tone for solo tones especially. So have a listen to it in isolation. Again, kind of really thick, kind of cool singing sustain. And lastly, first in the chain of the pedalboard, full stop, we have the SM Fuzz. First in the chain primarily because it absolutely hates any pedals being before it, whether it's buffered, whether it's true bypass. I've just found it sounds worse for it. So this is actually the first pedal in the chain. And 99.9% of the time, if not 100, gets stacked with the King of Tone. In the isolation, I'm not even sure what it sounds like, but I remember not liking it, so... Not a huge fan of them in isolation, but as soon as you stack it with anything that is remotely mid-humped, really comes alive. And there we have it. That's pretty much everything. As I said, the new pedalboard shall be put together pretty soon, and I'm hopefully going to document the process to some degree as well, so keep your eyes peeled, and there should be a new video coming very soon, so thank you. So there you have it, my pedalboard. As I said, it's soon to be an X pedalboard, at least in its current guise. It'll be moving on to something a little bit more stable, something a little bit more reliable at gigs. I've had a couple of moments recently where you just get the odd little kind of crackle come in, or a moment of no sound, which, whether you're on stage in front of 3 people or 3,000, is utterly terrifying and just not something that you want to be putting yourself through on a regular basis. So needless to say, there will be a video coming very soon with the updated board, and I'll hopefully be filming some of the process of actually putting it together, meeting Chris, going through what I'm looking for, etc, etc. So thank you very much for watching. As ever, if you enjoyed this, please do subscribe, like, comment, share, all that kind of good YouTube stuff. And this is going to be a regular Friday thing, as ever. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.